Alright, we're back. It was like breaks from the talk show. You take breaks for ads. Back on air. Broadcasting without any calls. I'd like to remind you of a few things. Okay. This has been run through my head since I was a child. And I've always said that one man is able to bring this planet to coherency. I used to think it's called save the world. It's not. This planet does not need saved. No soul needs saved here. You need just the conversation of contribution. Because you come here to contribute, and you're a savings deposit of favors and the frequency of them. And that's what this is. And then this thing travels all through this cosmos. This is the hummingbird in it. It changes frequency and moves all through it. That's what you do. You do things simultaneously, and you're the rudder on the surface of this contraption, and it changes frequency and travels through here for adventure. That's all it does. Adventure in here. All the pressure you're under right now is irrelevant. And all for nothing. It doesn't do it. It's just a waste of time. I mean, waste of your living. Waste of your fun. Waste of everything. But it is. Doesn't have any time in it, obviously. Doesn't know what time it is. The clock does not tell you what time it is at all. So I have been about this, my job. You would get this same conversation no matter when anybody came to you. It's the same. You're a mammal and the same experience. You're in a forest and stars and planets. You're a forest. And that's all you do is forest and migrate, meander, and curious and have a glee. And all you do is glee, and that's all you understand is glee. And when you don't glee, you're broken. Because that's all you know, that's all you understand, glee. And you definitely evolve and you change shape. And it's a wonderful place. And what the intent of these broadcasts is to remind you of things that you don't care about classified at all. None of that classified matters. But the only thing classified matters, and it really isn't classified, obvious will answer more of what took place with John Kennedy. And why. That's it. And this nation needs to focus on that and come to an understanding of that and move on. Because it hasn't moved on before that, and that's what he was reminding of. You're tardy as something prior to him making the speeches and reminding how tardy you were. So at the time of Kennedy, you're already tardy as a nation here. And nothing's moved on since. And they've kept that conversation from you. And that was a great, it was a great time when Kennedy came to awareness and brought that to the presidency's remarks. Although, if you stop and remember, he's not the only president that said those things. You stop and think what Jefferson said. For Christ's sake, he locked the White House and went home for the very same reason. You know, I don't know why internationalism shot Kennedy. I'll never know. Something international did it. No matter who did it and what trigger did it, the motive is international. Something was threatened by John Kennedy, and there was no absolute reason to be threatened by John Kennedy. And anything like that, when something like that takes you out, it's because you're threatened, or you're threatening them. And of course, Sneaky's been running the place for a long time, and humans without Sneaky, look at this whole thing, it's just the advertising of Sneaky, and that's what the advertising industry is, Sneaky. And humans are, you're pouncing around and celebrating Sneaky and saying that Sneaky is going to make the place a better place. Well, it doesn't. Human sneaking does not make this a better place. And that's what you're pushing for, a answer to things, and it doesn't work, and you're a dummy to do it. You cannot pass these philosophies on to anyone coming here next generation, the next generation after that, and on into generationism. You cannot pass these philosophies on. They don't live here. The philosophies you're trying to live with now and pass on are coming from a bankrupt grant system. You take that Federal Reserve note away from this planet. You gonna live with any of these philosophies you're pushing now? Will any of them sell? Any of them? Your currencies are in receivership. They're a member of an international loan, a certificate of usury. And none of the usury on this globe has been paid in a long time, especially in Europe. Can you hear Europe rattling right now? Wonder why? Because the families over there think they're dynasties and have been evading the issue for a long time. They wouldn't make a pimple on how dynasty, they're not the caliber of dynasty. They call themselves royalty, and they call themselves this and monarch and that. Bunk. Dynasty runs this planet. Dynasty does. And it's got nothing to do with European bunk. The failure of anything they remark to. A hoax on every remark coming out of Europe. That's what Europe is. And they've got their nose everywhere. And the failure of their currency nightmare is tied to everyone else's currency nightmare too. Want to bet? And it's international. And it's been predicted a long time, and it's not the end of the world at all, even though without responding accurately, some people are going to starve. Sure as God made little green apples. Wonder why? Because the shipping breaks down. It's all being supported by hoax right now. You're like living in a cage and it's being fed to you and shipped in. Yep. And it breaks down. And when the shipping breaks down, the supply to eat breaks down. And who knows what happens after that. Want to bet? And you can't supply yourselves up enough to prepare for it. No. You can't. You say, well, I'll just store up. No, you won't. Well, I'll gun up and they can't break in and get it. No, that won't help either. That's not what will take place anyway. Nobody's going to break in and take anything from you. And your supply won't last long enough to make a difference. No, it won't. And who cares? What are you going to live with? Who wants you around anyway? Those are all remarks of vagrants that do not understand the word generosity. And they're not prepared to set up the generosity. And they don't have generosity in their heart, and that's not what they're selling in their mind. And their mindset has anything yet to do with generosity, and that's the only thing going to take you here. Generosity is the only thing that takes you through this cosmos. Thrust and fuel doesn't go through here. Generosity and the timing of understanding what to do with it is the fuel for this planet going through this cosmos. And only generosity. That's your fuel. That's your only fuel. And you are already stocked up with tanks of it. You know how much generosity fuel you got stocked up in your mind for generosity fuel in sweat and elbow grease to make this thing move through here? Do you? And you're not tapping any of it. Why? Talking up to you, growl, growl. Your maker shows up. You want God Almighty to show up? You'll be talked up to and growled at for your failure to accomplish and appreciate the lovely things already sitting all around you all the time. Want to bet? And nobody will be scolded for what they did. You all get it for what you failed to do. And nothing present matters. It's your absences that you will not contribute that are stored up in tanks that you hoard. Want to bet? You need to push the word generosity and get it going. Hurry up now. Yeah. As the King of the Jews, I sit in my chair and command you. Do you understand me? Move. My job is to serve the Gentiles. The Jewish people have the softest heart for one reason. Gentile stimulation. Want to bet? Just a little bit of a flavor added to a soup. A much bigger soup. I ain't got nothing to do with it. Be the same if I was here or wasn't here. Yep. My living doesn't matter. The failure of the place is Jewish problem. Only you took all the Jew away, you still got the same problem. Yeah, you do. The Jews are just a little asset to kind of give you a little sweet sense of humor when it doesn't make sense. That's a Jew, basically. The core of a Jew. Sense of humor when it doesn't make any sense. Independence Day. Keep the sense of humor. That's a Jew. That's all it's for. Just an entertainment factor, like the newspaper. That's what they tell me the newspaper's for, just entertainment. Well, that's Jew. Just an entertainment, just something to keep the thing going a little silly. That's it. That's all I understand. Want to bet? That looks silly to you? Look like the banjo player in Deliverance to me. Ah. Well, must be about time to wrap her up. Come back. I'll be back.